Nobody warned me that one day bending down to pick up a dust rag off the floor would make me cry. Not from the sadness of it, from the pain. I stood there in my own kitchen, the kitchen I had scrubbed and polished and kept spotless for over 40 years, and I couldn't straighten back up. My lower back had locked, my knees were on fire, and the mop was still leaning against the counter, half the floor still dirty, looking at me like it was winning. That was 3 years ago. I was 68 years old, and that moment broke something inside me that had nothing to do with my spine. It broke my pride. I sat down at the kitchen table, slowly, the way you do when your body has become something you negotiate with, instead of something you just use. And I thought about my mother, about how she kept her house immaculate until the very end, about how I always assumed I would too, about how I never once considered that cleaning, something I had done without thinking for my entire adult life, would become one of the hardest parts of getting older. Nobody talks about that, not really. They talk about retirement. They talk about grandchildren. They talk about travel and golden years and all the beautiful things that are supposed to come after 60. But nobody sits you down and says, one morning your body is going to revolt, and the house you love, the home you built, is going to start feeling like a battle you can't win. I'm here to tell you, you can win it. Just not the same way you used to fight it. My name is Dorothy. I'm 71 years old. I live alone in the same house in Ohio that my husband Gerald and I bought in 1987. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a basement I haven't been able to go down into comfortably since my hip replacement 2 years ago, and a backyard that Gerald used to tend like it was his life's work. He passed in 2019. Pancreatic cancer. 8 weeks from diagnosis to gone. After he died, the house got harder in ways I didn't expect. Not just emotionally, though, Lord, yes, emotionally, but physically. Gerald had been the one who moved the heavy furniture when we vacuumed. He'd been the one who climbed the step stool to clean the ceiling fans. He'd carried the laundry basket downstairs without thinking twice. He'd gotten down on his hands and knees to scrub the bathroom tile grout every spring, like it was some kind of personal mission. And suddenly, all of that was mine. At first, I pushed through it. I am not a woman who asks for help easily. My mother's generation didn't ask for help. You did what needed doing, and you didn't complain. And the house stayed clean because a clean house meant you were still in control of your life. But somewhere around 68, my body stopped cooperating with that philosophy. My doctor told me to stop mopping floors on my hands and knees. My daughter in Cincinnati told me to hire someone. My son told me to just move to a smaller place. Everyone had an opinion. No one had a solution that actually fit my life, my budget, my stubbornness, or my determination to stay in this house, in this neighborhood, surrounded by 40 years of memory and meaning. So I figured it out myself, slowly, painfully, sometimes literally. And today, I want to share what I learned. 10 things that changed the way I clean this house, that made it possible again, that gave me back a sense of control I thought I'd lost for good. If you're over 60 and your body is fighting you on this, Please listen, because no one should have to cry over a mop. I used to do it all in one Saturday, all of it, top to bottom, every room, every surface, every floor. I'd start at 8 in the morning, and I'd be done by 2 in the afternoon, and the house would sparkle, and I would feel for one shining afternoon completely in control of my world. I cannot do that anymore. And the moment I stopped trying to, everything got better. Now I clean 1 room per day. Monday is the kitchen. Tuesday is the main bathroom. Wednesday I dust the living room. Thursday I rest. Friday I do floors, but only the main level. The bedrooms happen on weekends, slowly, without a timer, without pressure. It sounds so simple. It sounds almost embarrassingly simple. But for women of our generation, women who were raised to do it all, do it fast, and do it without complaining, giving yourself permission to spread the work across the week feels like a small revolution. Your body can handle 30 minutes. It cannot always handle 6 hours. And the house doesn't know the difference. Here's what nobody tells you about cleaning after 60. Half the pain isn't from the cleaning itself. It's from bending down and standing back up 40 times in an hour. I bought a long-handled dustpan. Sounds ridiculous. Changed my life. I bought a spray mop that stands upright. No ringing, no bending, just push and go. I bought a lightweight vacuum with an extendable handle. I bought a long-handled scrubber for the toilet that meant I never had to get on my knees in the bathroom again. Every single one of these tools cost less than $20. Every single one of them gave me back something I thought I'd lost. If you are still using the same broom and dustpan you've had for 20 years, the kind where you have to crouch down with a little hand brush, please, please stop. Your knees have earned better than that. Your back has earned better than that. You spent 40 years cleaning the right way. Now clean the smart way. The floor doesn't care how you get it clean. Only you do. Gerald used to tease me for never sitting down. "Dorothy," he'd say, "you clean like the house is on fire." He wasn't wrong. I moved fast. I moved constantly. I didn't pause. Now I have a small stool in my kitchen. I keep it near the sink. When I'm doing dishes or wiping down the counters, I sit on that stool half the time. When I'm folding laundry, I sit at the dining room table. When I'm sorting through cabinets, I pull up a chair. Cleaning while sitting is still cleaning. I had to say that to myself out loud the first time. Actually out loud, alone in my kitchen, to nobody. Because something in my brain insisted that cleaning only counted if it was done standing up, moving fast, working hard. That voice is not your friend. That voice is from a time when your body could afford the cost of it. Listen to your body now. It's telling you the truth. Before I learned this, I was walking back and forth across my house a dozen times during every cleaning session. carrying one bottle here, forgetting the rag there, going back for the glass cleaner, realizing I left the paper towels in the bathroom. All that walking adds up, especially when your hip hurts and your feet are swollen by 10 in the morning. Now I have a simple plastic caddy, the kind you can get for $5 at any dollar store, and everything I need is in it. Spray cleaner, glass cleaner, microfiber cloths, a small scrubber, one roll of paper towels. I carry the caddy from room to room. I don't go back for anything. I do the room, I move on. It sounds like nothing. It saves me so much. Distance, energy, frustration, pain, all of it. The less you walk back and forth, the more you have left for what actually matters. I used to buy whatever cleaning cloths were on sale. Cotton rags, paper towels, old t-shirts cut into squares. Whatever worked, whatever was cheap. I switched to microfiber cloths 3 years ago, and I genuinely do not understand why no one made me do it sooner. Microfiber picks up dust, grease, and grime with almost no pressure. You don't have to scrub. You barely have to wipe. One light pass over a surface with a damp microfiber cloth does more than 3 hard passes with a cotton rag, which means your hands work less, your arms work less, your shoulders, which after 60 seem to find new and creative ways to ache, work less. They're washable. They last for years. A pack of 12 costs maybe $10. If arthritis is making your hands weak or your grip painful, and for so many of us after 60 it does, microfiber will reduce the force you need to use. That reduction matters more than you think. Here is the truth that nobody wants to hear. The hardest house to clean is a full house. And most of us over 60 are living in full houses, full of 40, 50 years of accumulated things that we keep because they might be useful, or because they belong to someone we loved, or because getting rid of them feels like losing part of ourselves. I'm not going to tell you to throw everything away. I'm not that person. I still have Gerald's coffee mug on the shelf. I still have my mother's recipe box on the counter, even though I know every recipe by heart. Some things stay because they need to stay. But I walked through this house last winter, and I counted the surfaces I had to dust. The little decorative plates on the shelf in the hallway. The collection of ceramic roosters on top of the kitchen cabinets. The stack of magazines on the end table that I was definitely going to read someday. I donated the plates. I moved the roosters into a box in the closet. They're still here, just not on display. I recycled the magazines, and my cleaning time for the hallway dropped by half. Just like that. Every object on a surface is a thing you have to clean around. Fewer objects means less time. Less time means less pain. Less pain means you can keep going. This is the one that surprised me the most. The one that made the biggest difference of all. Every evening before I sit down for good, I spend 5 minutes doing a quick reset of the main areas of my house. I rinse the dishes, I wipe the kitchen counter, I straighten the couch cushions. I put one thing back where it belongs. Just 5 minutes, every night without fail. What this does is prevent the build-up, the dirt and disorder that turns a 20-minute cleaning job into a 2-hour ordeal. The grease that sits on the counter for 3 days and requires actual scrubbing versus the grease that gets wiped up the same evening with a damp cloth in 30 seconds. After Gerald died, I let things go for a while. The house got away from me, and every time I looked at it, I felt worse. The mess became evidence of my grief, of my failing, of all the things I couldn't manage anymore. And then I'd try to tackle it all at once, and I'd hurt myself and feel even worse. 5 minutes a night prevents all of that. It keeps the house in a state that you can actually manage, and it gives you something else too. A small moment of control at the end of the day. A quiet sense of, I did this. I kept my home. I am still here. That matters more than people know. This is the one that took me the longest to learn. My daughter offered to come help me clean out the basement for 3 years before I finally said yes. 3 years of her offering. 3 years of me saying I was fine. 3 years of that basement getting more difficult and more overwhelming and more painful to think about, until it had become something I dreaded instead of something I managed. When I finally said yes, we did it in one Saturday afternoon. She brought her daughter, my granddaughter Lily, who is 17 and has more energy than I remember having even at 30. They carried boxes, they moved the heavy shelving, they found things I'd forgotten I had, and we laughed about some of them and cried about others. And I realized waiting hadn't protected anything. It had only made it harder and lonelier, and cost me 3 more years of that basement weighing on me. Asking for help is not giving up. It is not failure. It is not weakness. It is the single most practical thing you can do, and the people who love you are not waiting to be needed. They are waiting for you to let them. Let them. I used to clean in the afternoon after lunch, which, it turns out, is the absolute worst time for my body. By 1 o'clock, my joints have decided they've done enough for the day. My energy is low, my patience is shorter. I clean now between 9 and 10:30 in the morning. That's my window. That's when I feel most like myself, when the coffee has kicked in and the morning stiffness has loosened and I still have enough energy to move without every step being a negotiation. Everybody's window is different. Yours might be late morning. It might be right after dinner when you get a second wind. It might be early evening. But you have one. A time of day when your body cooperates more than others. Figure out yours. Protect it. Don't schedule your dentist appointments in it. Don't let phone calls eat it. Use it for what your body is willing to give you. Cleaning with your body instead of against it is the difference between getting it done and getting hurt. I put on music now when I clean. Old Motown mostly. The same music my mother played on the radio on Saturday mornings when I was a little girl, helping her wipe down the baseboards and feeling very important about it. Aretha Franklin playing in my kitchen while I wipe down the counters makes the kitchen feel less like a chore and more like a ritual. It connects me to something, to my mother, to my younger self, to the long, unbroken line of women who kept their homes not because they had to, but because home meant something. Because home still means something. Maybe for you it's a podcast. Maybe it's an audiobook. Maybe it's the morning news. Maybe it's just the sound of birds through the open window on a good weather day. Whatever makes it bearable, use it. You have earned the right to find joy in the ordinary, even the ordinary of a clean kitchen floor. I want to tell you about one specific morning. It was February, cold, grey, the kind of Ohio February that makes you question every life decision that led you to Ohio. I woke up at 6 with my right hip aching and my hands stiff from the cold, and the thought of the week's cleaning ahead of me sitting on my chest like something heavy. I made coffee. I sat at this table. I looked around this kitchen that Gerald and I had painted 3 times in 30 years, trying to find the right shade of yellow. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. Not the cleaning. I don't mean I can't do the cleaning. I mean I can't keep fighting my own home. Can't keep approaching every day as a battle between what my body used to do and what it can do now. Can't keep measuring myself against the woman I was at 40, strong and fast and completely unaware of how much she had. I sat there for a long time, and then I got up, slowly. I got out the caddy. I put on the Temptations, and I cleaned the kitchen. Just the kitchen, just that morning, just what I could reach without bending. And when I was done, I sat back down and drank the rest of my coffee while it was still warm. And it was enough. That morning taught me more than any advice ever had, because what I understood, sitting in that yellow kitchen with the Temptations playing and the smell of clean counters in the air, was this. The goal was never a perfect house. The goal was always a life lived in it. Cleaning is not the enemy. Your expectations of yourself are. The woman you were at 40 could do more, yes. She could also feel less. She hadn't buried a husband. She hadn't watched her children grow distant in the way that children do. Not from lack of love, but from the full lives that are exactly what you raised them to have. She hadn't learned yet what it means to be grateful for a working hip, for a warm house, for the smell of coffee on a cold morning. You are not less than you were. You are different than you were. And this house, this imperfect, beautiful, memory-filled house, deserves the version of you that actually exists, not the one you used to be. Some mornings the floors don't get mopped. Some weeks the ceiling fans go undusted. Some months I look at that basement door and I walk right past it. And the house stands. And I stand. And tomorrow I'll put on Aretha and wipe down the counters and call my daughter and tell her I love her. That is not failure. That is living. If you are over 60 and you are fighting your own home every single week, please hear me. You are not failing. Your body is not betraying you. It is changing. And change, after a lifetime of doing things one way, is the hardest thing in the world. Harder than people who haven't arrived here yet can possibly understand. But you are still here, in your home, with your memories and your coffee mugs and your collection of things that matter to no one else and matter deeply to you. That is not nothing. That is everything. Try one thing, just one. The caddy, or the microfiber cloths, or the 5-minute evening reset. Pick the one that sounds most manageable and try it this week. Small changes stack up. One trick becomes two. Two becomes a routine. A routine becomes something you don't dread anymore. Something you can actually do on your own terms, in your own time, with a little music playing in the background. You kept this home through decades of life. You will keep it now. Just smarter. Just slower. Just with a whole lot more grace for yourself than you've probably been allowing. This house isn't too much for you. You built it. You filled it. And you are still here.